Hello. Hey, Tom. Tom Cook in the house. Trying to figure this out. Trying to figure out StreamYard. Hey, Tom. Oh, I got an echo over here. Echo over there. Share screen. I'd like to share that. Stand by. Sounds that's good. Isaac, you can hear me. Okay, that was better than my last live stream. I think I was mute for the first 10 minutes or something like that. Let's see. StreamYard. Share screen. Extra camera. Sides. There we go. How does that look? Patience. Something I've had to learn over the years. Hold on a second. I got 2 minutes. I need some more water. Or beer. If I drink too much of that, I'll have to get up too much. All right. Figuring this out. All right. I guess I can take this down. So, live stream. As promised, the live stream. How's everybody doing? Tom is here. RV Shadow, my fellow friend with the vintage. Got my vintage car friend and my vintage stereo equipment and car friend. People into the same stuff. 6. Hey, I went to the barber today. Check it out. I actually got the beard trimmed up at the barber. I went to an official barber shop. This is my first beard, and this is my first time actually going to see a barber. So that's interesting. It's like everybody's on. I've got comments from Facebook. I'm streaming live on Facebook too, by the way. So might as well, StreamYard. I'm paying for this stuff. So how are all the vans running? Good. Actually, my wife is out in Vinny the van today, and I have a brake video that I had to upload because she pulled the e-brake because some of the customers' houses she goes to, there's this one customer, she's on like a main road and you have to pull up into the driveway and it's like really steep. So she pulled the e-brake on Vinny the van and he didn't want to let go. So I didn't know. I thought it had brake drums on both sides in the back, but it actually has disc brakes. So each side has disc brakes on it, and the passenger side disc brake wouldn't let go. I thought it was drum brakes, which is kind of common. And the guy told us, the guy we bought it from said it'd been sitting there, not driven a whole lot in like 2 or 3 years. So, I figured the drum brakes had rusted up or something. I was going to have to pound the drum off, but no, it had disc brakes in the back. So I just basically lubricated it a little bit, and I probably should take the brake calipers off and re-lubricate everything. It needs a brake flush really bad. Like the brake fluid looks like coffee, like somebody who puts honey in their coffee. More coffee than honey, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, yeah, I love them Chrysler vans, dude. They are they just keep running. You know, the 2011 I had, it had a transmission problem, of course, and like that I needed a rebuild. If JT was in that, JT could help me rebuild that transmission, but I doubt I could do it like rolling around in the grass in my yard. Like, that would be a really difficult thing. So I had to give that back up to the creditors. That was my failed attempt at being a professional driver, entrepreneurial endeavor there. So yeah, man, it's 5 o'clock here on the West Coast, and the sun is still coming through the window. I imagine it's dark where a lot of you guys are. I don't know. Tom's in the Midwest, or I think Tom's in Pennsylvania or somewhere like that, right? Uh, RV Shadow. I'm pretty sure you're in East Coast, right? Baltimore, that's somewhere that area. I'm getting people mixed up. Anyway, so yeah, that's my van story. Vicky the van is still running great. Ohio, that's right. Tom Cook's in Ohio. I got family in Ohio. My cousins live in Ohio. My aunt Nikki lives in Ohio. Northeast. So up there northeastish. Like up by Maine, that kind of thing. I got my friend up there from the this guy's garage. He's up way up northeast, like Nova Scotia, in another country northeast. It's great to see you guys on the old live stream here. Don't know how I'll keep kicking this down the road, but we'll see how it goes. I had some topics. I signed up for StreamYard. I upgraded the StreamYard app here, so I got my official podcasting mic out here, by the way, and I'm excited. So I took the day off to do this. Kind of. I just didn't have anything scheduled, so I might as well wipe it clean. My new job is interesting. Also, I have some kind of breaking news about my new job because it's weird. So I quit the Ford dealership in February. Like some of you may know, I released some videos on that, and I got to share this with you. Hold on here. Share screen. So I'm still figuring the StreamYard thing out. Slides. Yeah. Come on, Russ. Gotta get this thing together. Oh yeah, here we go. So I can jump from there to here. Is that still on the screen? No, it's a different thing. Hold on. All right, trying to share screen. Slides. That's not what I wanted. Share screen. Come on, Russ. I still have Webster's dictionary up. Bear with me, folks. I'm a rookie StreamYard user. All right. No, not an extra camera. Share screen. Man, I'm still trying to figure this out. I had it a minute ago. I did. Slides. What is that? Settings, camera. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this out, you guys. Dear Lord. California, sunny and windy. JM from the land of the Sunshine State. My wife is from California, Southern California, around, she has family down in Long Beach. So we would visit Long Beach and LA and Anaheim and all that down there. I got familiar with Bellflower down there, Compton. It was pretty cool. Stop screen. I see. Then share again. Nope. Share screen. It's easiest with two monitors. It is. Chrome tab. Here we go. Here we go, you guys. I figured it out. The stop screen and reshare screen. So now back to StreamYard. One of these days, I will be able to do this on the fly. So there we go. That's the Ford dealership I used to work at. That's right. Right here in our hometown neighborhood. They are going out of business. Everett Toulouse Ford dealership as Epic Ford's set to shut down. The story was broke on May 9th. And this has been, for decades. It used to be Brian Ford. It used to be a mom and pop kind of operation, and now it's not. It was ran by some big corporation who, they only let the managers do so much. And I mean, a lot of good people are going to lose their jobs, which is sort of sad. I mean, hopefully they'll find better places to work than that Ford dealership. I mean, it's just they didn't upgrade anything. We didn't have a parts cleaner. Again, I had a stack of broken computers to go through and try and figure out which one would work. Even though I have this one that I'm streaming on now, I could have I could have kept this computer, but no, that's a security risk. It's like, all right, so you can't hire people. They kind of let the whole place go under because they weren't, it was weird. It was like, managers, yes, you can do these things, but don't expect us to spend any money on equipment or technology or IT people or, so that's kind of what happens when a big corporation takes over, right? Like, I don't know. I guess it depends on the corporation, but traditionally in my country, it's been sort of the thing. Oh, frustrating. So yeah. Good instincts. That's right. Thank you. it was just, I didn't enjoy my work there. And that was a big reason why, because they just weren't, I mean, the people I worked with were really cool, really nice, really tried to make do with what was going on at the place. But other than that, it just wasn't happening. So that's what's going on with that. That's what's going on with my the end of my automotive career. Epic Ford gone out of business. So yeah, February I abruptly quit, and that was tough. And I talked about that in the video a little bit, but I knew my pay period was coming up, and so I wouldn't get paid past that moment. And it was just a good time to leave, So closed it out right in the middle. I didn't want them holding back anything for any such reason. Like as soon as my paycheck hit my account, I just packed up my tools and left. And it sort of left some people hanging. They kind of felt that way. But again, it was just so, again, when the upper management, the people, the ownership of the company doesn't care. And some of this goes to Ford, like, I'll be honest, because of the recalls and the way that they pay people, it just wasn't great. So instead of belly aching and complaining about it, I just left, just didn't want to stay there. There was actually a law passed, by the way, which reminds me of Illinois' governor who, for folks who work in car dealerships, like, he actually had to pass a law, which is sort of sad, because if you think about Henry Ford and some of the stuff that he said about leadership, and here he is, J.P. Prexner had to pass a law, and I'm not trying to get political. It's just like so that people like techs would get paid the same amount for warranty and recall work as when customers pay. So I thought that was a really cool thing. Like that's how it should be. And I think that car makers and manufacturers built cars in such a way where they had to think about that. Like this may cost us a lot of money. And I know that does. I know recalls are, nobody wants that. But at the same time, there's a certain risk and reward involved. And they might scrutinize their engineering a little better. Maybe if they realize they got to pay techs the same amount as they would pay, for customer pay. So I thought that was a really good, interesting piece of legislation. But guys like Henry Ford said some stuff that was like, I think I shared that on my Twitter account. Just quotes by Henry Ford about leadership, about treating employees fairly. And here this dude has to pass a law in order for that to happen. All right. Share screen. Chrome tab. Here's another recall that was pretty scary. I've been watching some news articles on this one, and this is the National Highway Safety Administration that had to be called into question, like for talking to people about the Hyundais and Kias. So Hyundais and Kias, there's a certain engine that like catches on fire as it's traveling down the street. That can't be good, right? Speaking of recalls. And JT was talking about this a little bit on his live stream, so I decided to look it up. It's horrible. Like I need to get better and faster at this. Yep, there it is. Vehicle service posts. Oh yeah, I have to accept all cookies. All right. This is horrible. Here we go. Share. Illinois governor signs bill to increase pay for dealership automotive technicians. And this is one of those things about capitalism, right? Like I'm a capitalist. I think that capitalism is a good thing. But when you eliminate the competition, right? Because capitalism has a sort of communist thing to it, right? If you can buy your competition, you no longer have capitalism to a certain extent. Like if somebody's just doing a horrible job and you can do a better job, then that's a good thing. Like competition is a good thing in the marketplace. But when you eliminate the competitors, then you don't have competition anymore. Then you have, a communist, kind of a socialist, dare I say, way of doing business. And that's what happens when these companies become so big. Whoa, again, much like the Ford dealership I used to work for, used to be owned by a family, used to be owned by people that cared for their employees. And then the recession got rocky and they sold the business to this corporation that owns a bunch of different dealerships across the country. And they just don't care as much, So unfortunately, you got this dude who passes a law, had to pass a law, I guess. Currently, technicians who work for car dealerships that provide warranty and repairs are not paid fairly, the governor said, adding to All that work deserves fair compensation. This legislation ensures that technicians are paid for the actual time and labor it takes to repair vehicles that are under warranty. Technicians are receiving unjust pay for their hard work and expertise from manufacturers who are taking full advantage of them. Absolutely. And that's the thing about what I do now. So I do gig work because I get paid more. So, I have skills in certain areas, but I'd rather put up people's TVs. I get paid to put up a light fixture like $60 an hour. I can mount TVs and shelves for like $50 an hour. And sure, there's time in between that uh, where I'm not making that money, right? I have to commute from place to place, but I don't. My wife aren't now. My wife and I aren't in any credit card debt. We don't have normal debts. We have our house payment. We don't have car payments. We drive old beater. We got a fleet of caravans. we have two late model caravans that probably pollute. That's why they don't make them anymore. We got a 2007 sports car, that's fun to drive on the weekends. We got our little red convertible midlife crisis vehicle, our empty nester mobile that we enjoy, and we're pretty happy. So, and again, I took today off. I took Monday off. I think I can set up tasks in such a way where I'm not having to be 40 hours at a shop, especially with an employer who doesn't appreciate my skills, right? Or the public out there does. And so this app company pairs me up with people that need work around the home, right? So what do I have? If I look on my schedule, what do I have going on tomorrow? I'm putting up a light fixture in a dude's house and some light switches, and I'll get paid like $60 an hour for that. And it's a number of light switches, so it'll probably take me 3 or 4 hours. And I'll make, if I can make $200 a day, that's $1,000 a week in a 5-hour workday. I don't need to work 40 hours a week anymore. But it's kind of funny how people will say that, like, well, people just don't want to work anymore. And maybe there's just different opportunities out there. Even Uber and Lyft, because of, again, regulations, some of these companies have had to pay people more. And you can make a lot more money driving rideshare, for example, and even renting a car. Like driving your own car to do that, I don't recommend. Like I've learned the hard way that is a bad business decision and idea. All right. I'm a mechanic and I couldn't keep my cars running for the amount of miles that you're going to put on them. But you can rent and pay, $200 to $300 a week and make, $1,000, $1,500. You could make a lot more than you would be making at minimum wage, which in my state is like $15 an hour. In most municipalities here in Washington State, minimum wage is $15 an hour. Henderson Family Farm, how's it going, man? It's going good. Mike's Garage just joined. Good to see you, Mike, in Illinois. He's in Illinois. He said it's horrible. What? Yeah, it's horrible how dealerships treat techs, but I don't know. I thought that bill was pretty cool. From Canada, Uncle Mark's Automotive Fix-It channel. I love Canada. Hey, there he is. It's Tim. How's it going, man? Tim changed his name to the channel recently. So now I'm trying to. Oh yeah, that's Tim. Everybody, the crowd's all here for the live stream. But yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was saying how I like the gig economy. I've been self-employed. The shops I worked at, the two shops I worked at during the pandemic, and the pandemic gave me an opportunity to work as a professional mechanic using this here YouTube page that you're watching now as a resume. That's how I got the job with those two shops. I mean, I did a lot of work on cars before that, but I never actually worked a lift, which was awesome. Now I'm sort of spoiled. Once you've worked on a lift, it's hard to, especially here where it rains a lot, crawl around in your yard and try and, you know, work. It's just hard. But I get that. Like, I'm back to doing kind of what Tim has been doing. So Tim is one of my heroes out there in the automotive world who actually goes to people's houses. And so some of what I do on TaskRabbit is that it's fixing people's cars. And I've not done anything too complicated. Like the most complicated thing I did was fix a door switch in a 2016 Tiguan, Volkswagen Tiguan, which was sort of a pain. Anything you do in a Euro car, it seems, it's a bit of a challenge. But yeah. Following the chat here. I have to cut this shirt. We'll watch later. All right. That's good to see you though. Mike, cut it short. Hey, I got my guitar shop shirt from Jeff Beck's. Check it out. And I cut speaking of cutting the shirt, I did that at work. So I have a hole to cut the shirt. So I'm trying to wear mechanic clothes while I'm at work now, just so I don't destroy my clothes. I still kept a shirt from the Ford dealership because I had an extra shirt laying around. I thought I turned it all in, but I apparently I didn't. And you always got to keep a shirt or something from where you worked before, right? The first shop I worked at, I never mentioned the name of it. So I got hired from the first shop I worked at because of my YouTube channel, right? So they knew I did social media, and it was pretty cool that they were fine with me recording there, right? As long as it wasn't on shop time. There was 2 rules, and it was just handed down by HR, by the way, when I was doing video at that first shop, is you don't mention our name in the videos. You don't show any stuff on the walls that says our name or anything like that, but you can shoot videos in the shop as long as it's not like at lunchtime or break time, and it's not interfering with company policy or whatever that was. So I thought that was pretty cool. I never asked the Ford dealer if I could shoot video there. I just did. I'm sure it was frowned upon. There was like pages and pages of stuff that I had to sign before I worked at the Ford dealer. It was like, wow, man. But yeah, I don't regret it. I don't regret working at either one of those shops. I learned a ton. I learned how to book time, and that's what I do now. So I tell people how long I think it's going to take to do something, and then I try and do it in that time frame if I can, which has been it's been a different thing. How many of you guys work in shops? I know Tom works for a kind of a small mom and pop place, if I remember right. Tom Cook and JM out there in sunny California. Not sure if you guys are still with me. How many people I got watching? Usually tells me, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. Share screen. What else did I want to talk about? I never worked in a shop, but was mobile for a while. Yeah, mobile mechanics. I didn't know that, man. That's cool. Mobile, and that's most of the stuff I do is changing a headlight, or I put a battery in a Honda, which was super easy. I probably thought it was more complicated than it was. And I got paid like $60 to open the hood on a Honda, disconnect the battery, put a new one in. I made a video about it because I don't know, people might watch that. So it hasn't got a lot of hits, I'll be honest. But some of those Hondas, they have their screen locks up, so it can be complicated depending on what year they are. You don't want the screen locking up on your Honda and causing issues and problems with that. Well, you guys, I think that's about it for this live stream. I thought I would hang out and test this out, test my my skills here, live streaming skills. Tom Cook says yes, and we have a 1974 nice Charger SE in our showroom for sale. So you work for a dealership, Tom, like a normal Chrysler dealership? That's interesting. If it has a classic car in the showroom, odds are it's not some big corporation. They don't usually, they're usually too plastic for that kind of thing. Yeah, Tim, I got to catch up on some of your live streams here soon. I think it's just the West Coast, East Coast thing. It's 5:30 still. So yes, a Chrysler dealership. Nice. That's right, out there in Ohio. Dayton, Ohio. That's where I got families, out in Dayton. But yeah, there's a guy that left our dealership. Younger guy. He was really good too. He was from Portland. His long-haired, tattooed up Portland guy. And he could do work really fast. He was in his 20s. He was like 25 or something, like younger than my son. And it was cool to work with him, but he got tired of the BS there too. He did a bunch of work, and the warranty, got shafted on the warranty work, and just like, I thought my paycheck was going to be more than this, and he was sort of really angry. So he again abruptly quit. But he was telling me, he goes, yeah, I'm going back to Portland. And he goes, there's a basketball player for the Portland Trailblazers who bought an Audi dealership. And he's one of these guys who enjoys working on those cars. Like, he just likes working on BMWs and Audis. And he's like my friend Tim out there. He's I like to see he does some of them BMWs, and he's good at those Euros, man. Some of us like, I get freaked out. My first TaskRabbit thing being that Tiguan. I'm like, oh, what do you want to do? He asked me to do some bodywork stuff. I don't do bodywork stuff. But anyway, this guy, he said, yeah, this basketball player buys a car dealership, and he's hiring a team, and it's just him and whoever's running the dealership for him. I guess that could be another weird corporate thing too, but interesting. I enjoy the car. I'll buy a dealership. So how the car dealerships work. Basketball player. I don't know who the basketball player is, but owns the dealership. I don't follow basketball as much anymore now that the Seattle Sonics don't have a basketball team. It's unfortunate. Sad. But yeah, we don't have a basketball team. Some of you wonder about this hat. This company no longer exists, by the way. And they gave us all this merch after the company closed. Like, they were cleaning out the shop I used to work at, and they found these hats and pens and little magnets with lights on them and stuff like that. And yeah, it was weird. So I kept this hat. So yes, it's sort of a brand thing, but the company no longer exists. Is that ice water? Yes, this is ice water, Tim. This is not vodka. I would be toasted if I did that. I do have a can of Henry Weinhard's that I drank earlier with my chicken wings. I didn't include hot sauce in this live stream, by the way. So sorry to disappoint. I guess I'll share some of that too. I went 30 days without drinking alcohol at all in any way, shape, or form. I never gone a month for a long time. I enjoy a beer here and there, my wife and I drink in moderation. At least we'd like to think so. during the pandemic, it got a little crazy. We, it was hot. We would go through like a 30 pack of Coors Light in a couple days. Like, yeah, that was drinking excessively. Light beer. I enjoy light beer. Like, whatever. It's not a big deal. I'm not a real heavy drinker, but I was reading some new research that's out there. And I think a lot of it had to do with, it, it had to do with, yeah, different flavors. Uh, they're trying to sell people on this app, right? So they're trying to sell people on this app that says, if you stop drinking, here's all the beautiful, wonderful health benefits of not drinking anymore. So it sort of puts you on a plan to reduce your drinking and then kind of like quit altogether if you want to, or just reduce your drinking. So it's sort of like, I think what they did is, you think of these dieting apps where you try and lose weight. So they try to attach not drinking to a dietary thing. Because, you think about how the brain works. Our dopamine receptors, food and alcohol are very closely related. They're both, feel good, drink and eat, right? I want to feel good, so I'm going to drink this substance or eat this food or whatever. And some of those can be, not so healthy, especially if, not in moderation, right? So I kind of bought into some of this, and then I looked into some of the research because I'm sort of a psychology geek. I really am. And I thought, okay, so they say that it can help you sleep better, and I would go a week or maybe 2, but they said really 3 weeks, Russ. If you go 3 weeks, after that 3rd week, your head is so much clearer. You start sleeping so much better. You may never ever want to drink again. And so I'm like, okay, I'll buy in. So my wife and I decided, we both agreed on it. She had quit drinking like 3 days before I did. So she was just having some effects of alcohol. After even having 2 drinks, she was like, I'm not going to drink that anymore. And why are we drinking anyway? Like, it costs money, especially after I lost my job. It's like, so I didn't have anything lined up. I didn't know this whole TaskRabbit thing would work out. Here we are buying, beer or whatever. I can't afford that. So yeah, we figured we'll stop for the 30 days. And, we went for the whole month of April. I didn't have a drop of alcohol for the whole month of April. And it was like, I didn't sleep any better. I still have a hard time sleeping. I'm actually PTSD. I've done some treatment therapy for that, but I'm still a little on edge when I sleep. We sleep with a fan in our bedroom, like white noise, because if I hear the slightest little noise, I'm up. So it's helpful, but I still don't sleep real well. The second one is concentration, cognitive ability. I'm still pretty ADHD and having a hard time focusing and thinking through things. I lose stuff, Unlike working at the shop where my tools are all contained in my work area and my toolbox, here I'm going to other people's houses and I'm unpacking a bunch of stuff and tools all over the place and, screws and things. And then I have to pack it all back up and leave, and hopefully bring everything with me when I leave. And this has been an ongoing problem. I've had people call me, it's like, hey, you left your impact, my DeWalt drill is set that costs like $300 or $400. Like, that's not good. So yeah, it hasn't helped with that at all. I forget my ladder. I lost a ladder, like an 8-foot ladder, unfortunately, at some woman's house. I was like taking stuff out because she had to leave. She's like, I got to go to this thing. So I need, can we close this up? And I finished her work, which was great. But I just put everything out on her because I had to park in the city. You got to kind of make do with parking. So I park ways away from her condo. I put everything outside and I was kind of moving things in and out from my to my van, right? My tools, my drill, my impact, all of that stuff, screws and all that stuff, and my ladders. I have 3 different ladders and a step stool. And I just spaced out and left my 8-foot ladder in front of her condo. And sure enough, by the time I realized that I had left it in front of her condo, it was gone, because she was at something. And then I think I called her the next day, and I'm like, can you check and see if my ladder's still? No, it was gone. So yeah, I still space stuff out, even after not drinking for the whole month of April. Didn't help at all. The weirdest part was my blood pressure actually went up. So I've monitored my blood pressure because I've had issues with blood pressure over the years. I'm on one medication for blood pressure now. I used to be on like 3 back in the day, back when I was driving Uber and Lyft. So I did some work in that area. That's another weird thing where therapy is helpful. Learning to breathe, learning to stop and just realize that my nervous system is connected to my brain, that kind of thing. It helped bring down my blood pressure significantly because I stress out. We stress out. We don't breathe. We just kind of like fight or flight to a certain extent. That drove up my blood pressure. So now my blood pressure is better, but in alcohol, drinking alcohol raises your blood pressure. It does. Like that's a known fact. But it also, in moderation, there's other studies that say it's good for your blood pressure. Here's a big one that went around a few years ago, right? 1 glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine with dinner can help reduce your, thins out your blood and helps with blood pressure, and it's good for your heart, so they say. It's just when you have 17 beers after that 7th or 8th glass of wine, it's probably not so good for you. That's where it boosts your blood pressure to levels that are not so safe. But I've drank, a 6-pack of like Coors Light in a sitting over the course of, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. I can put away light beer, especially on a hot summer day. It just, comes in one end and goes out the other rather quickly. That was another thing about alcohol, is that I thought that you drink more. Like if you're drinking hard alcohol, for example, it's good to hydrate. That way you don't have a hangover. But there's some interesting facts around that from some of the research I did. Was like, if you drink too much and your blood pressure rises from some of that, what can happen is, I've lost my train of thought. See, that's where the alcohol wasn't helping. I just got distracted by what kind of blood pressure medicine I'm on. But anyway, where was I with that? The whiskey, that's what it was. Hard alcohol and hangovers. If you drink more water while you're drinking whiskey, that's good. You'll probably have less of a hangover. But you also have to keep up with your bladder, because your body also says that you're dehydrated as you drink alcohol. The more alcohol you drink, the more your body says, I'm dehydrated, I need to drink more, which is interesting, right? And then you tend to pee out. Alcohol is sort of like a water pill. And maybe that's where it's kind of good for you. Blood pressure, I don't know. It's not good if your blood pressure is high and you just drink a bunch of water because you feel like you're dehydrated, because your heart sac actually helps keep your blood pressure bad. I'm on Losartan. That's the only one that worked for me. When I was doing Uber and Lyft, I was put on a water pill, which made me want to have to pee way too often, and when you're driving for a living, that's just not an option, I'm not like a truck driver. I can't just whip out a Gatorade bottle, and fill her up and throw it out the window. That's what truck drivers do. Just not doing that. Besides, I probably wouldn't have a 5-star rating if I kept up that sort of behavior doing rideshare. I learned that I did like driving cars more than fixing them. But I like fixing cars too. It's solving problems for people. Solving puzzles, that's always fun. But yeah, this has been an interesting live stream. I might as well go an hour. We're almost up to an hour. My wife's still not home. She went out with her folks today. She's still out in Vinny the van driving around. That put Lucas through it because all the lifters and everything was clattering, making a bunch of noise, and it's been incredible. It was worked really well. Master Tech at the first shop I worked at that I'm not allowed to say the name of. I might anyway, just because I don't know how they can. I don't work there anymore. I don't know if that is a breach of contract from what I signed, but I know there's like whistleblower laws. I really don't have anything negative to say about the first shop I worked at, except for, again, they were just a big corporation that, they didn't really care about what was going on on a personal level, right? It's funny how we've changed some of that language, by the way. Like if you go back 40, 50 years ago, the people that did what's called human resources now used to be called personnel. I work in personnel, it was called, which sounds a lot more, feet on the ground, relationship savvy than human resources. You're a human, you're a resource. You're like a machine. Now shut up and get back to work. We're going to pay you the least amount possible to keep our stockholders happy. That seems to be just corporate America 101 out there. But yeah, it's cool that Tom works for because franchises are different. I worked for a pizza franchise for a number of years. I did sales for a small pizza franchise, which I think in the most successful time had maybe 25 to 30 franchises. I don't know how many they have now. They've lost a lot, but the pandemic's had been hard on a lot of franchises, but hey, it's fun filling time with running my thoughts and blabbing into a microphone, just seeing how this goes. I'm still learning StreamYard, still learning some of this stuff. I wanted to talk about this just because I've talked about it at work with some friends, and some people are talking. My wife has been following this story, and if I could make people go away, I'm gonna talk about it. Some of you are like, what's he gonna talk about? What is the thing that I'm gonna share now? Share screen. Here we go. Share screen. I still have to work my way through this. And Chrome tab. Here we are. Now I'm going to talk about this from a different perspective, hopefully. And yeah, maybe it'll be better. I don't know. But it's this story. All right. Hold on. I think I'm in my, yeah. Can you guys see that? I don't know. There it is. It's the Johnny Depp Amber Heard story. Now, this is from Psychology Today, right? So here's Psychology Today chiming in on this. And why I think that's interesting is because I see this from a psychological perspective more than a news perspective. And so, and it's funny how this is a court of law. Like this isn't some late night talk show that's going on. I had to touch on this. All right. I just have to get this out of my system. I'm going to talk to you guys about it. The 5 of you that are watching, I just had to get this out of my system because it seems like the court here in the United States and in the UK has become, like a spectacle of sorts, right? I want to, tune in and to court TV and watch the 7-hour reality show that is the divorce of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. How is this legal? Like I get that it's a court of law. They're not making money off it, but Johnny Depp is trying to clear his, and you have these sides, my wife's been following this and I've been following some of the news on it just from a curious perspective as a guy who enjoys psychology, like it's sad when people get divorced. But it's also, as this Psychology Today article points out, their ongoing debate raises the question, Why do we attack those already hurt? I hurt you, you hurt me. We're going to go after each other. So now, for those of you who don't know, Amber Heard accused Johnny Depp of like what? Domestic violence, right? He's a wife beater. So he's seen as a wife beater. And so his case is based on defamation of character. And in the Me Too movement age, that's tangible, right? Like, sure, he's, you know, she wrote an article in 2018 that basically called him an abusive person, and that caused Disney to fire him, and he had this issue in court in the UK. So, and he lost, and they both kind of lost. Like, they're both, as the facts come out about this couple, they're both sort of horrible to each other. They both continually hurt each other, right? And there's some of that, and I see it in some couples, you know, who kind of pick at each other. I think my wife and I used to do this for a little while earlier in our marriage, but we stopped because it was like toxic. It's weird how, and some people think that they can keep doing that to one another, and it's cool and fine. And it starts out as fun and sort of joking around or jeering or roasting your significant other, but it's really not. I don't know. Over time, I'm not trying to judge other people's relationships, but over time, it can really be, you know, sort of a toxic thing that people do to one another. It's just not healthy. So, what's going to happen here in the U.S. in this court thing that I can see is he's going to lose again. There's more stringent laws around defamation in the United States than there is in Europe. There just is. And if you try and defame someone, you know, it's just harder to prove here because of our freedom of speech laws here in this country. And in the UK, it didn't go well for Johnny Depp. So even with, it's funny how the court of public opinion is a thing, right? Just a few days ago, while this whole thing is going on and is all over the news, Disney took Johnny Depp's character out of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. This is the ride that the whole movie franchise, that's his most successful movie franchise, was based on, by the way. Like, they just eliminated his image from that brand, to use those words, right? So I thought that was interesting. And I don't know, but I had to get that out of my system. As a guy doing a talk show, the Russhawsho. I thought that's a funny name for, I've been accused of that in the past. Like, Russ, you're just doing your own show. This is the Russhawsho. I'm like, okay, I'll just call it that then. But hey, thanks for checking in, Tim. I'm gonna go to dinner too. Well, I had chicken wings earlier, but my wife's gonna be home. We'll probably do something. It is almost 6 o'clock here in the Seattle, Washington, Pacific Northwest, upper left part of the country. Those are the riveting topics that I have for you. And yeah, I just had to chime in on the whole Johnny Depp thing. Forgive me for my indulgences on that. But yeah, later. Thanks for watching. And I am going to try and figure out how to get out of StreamYard. Peace, everybody. Later.